Hey everybody, how are you doing today? Quick little hello here from Apollo, who was just sleeping. Hopefully you're all kind of waking up. I know that for those of us that have to kind of deal with the change in time due to daylight saving, it can be a little bit crazy. So many of you are like Apollo with your head still in the clouds, but it's good to see all of you today. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. Welcome to your collective reading for the next week ahead. As the caption here says, everybody's welcome. And every piece of this video can be used for all of you present. Let me let Apollo get caught up on his beauty sleep and we'll talk about the format here. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. I'm going to help you navigate through the week ahead. The format you see below is what we're going to be following. I always like to begin with channeled messages. These come directly from dreams and also sometimes this morning, for instance, I was taking a walk and a hummingbird just kind of stopped, looked at me at the eye, and then started feeding. And I thought, okay, we're going to talk about you today. So sometimes I meet your totem as I'm walking my dog in the morning. So channel messages first. Then we'll navigate into the 7-day forecast going from this Sunday to next Sunday. Blessings and blocks will follow, basically something to embrace, something that you might want to try to avoid or change around. And then we'll take a look at the only part of this forecast that will be specific to certain signs, and that'll be the elemental forecast, where we'll break it down and look at fire, earth, air, and water. And then you chose a really great viewer's choice today, special topic, where we're going to look at the power of positivity, specifically as a way to manifest, to bring about change. That's kind of the way I read on this channel too. So what we're going to look at is anything that could be challenging, how could we turn it around? I was looking at someone's comment recently where they said, why do you read reversals? And I was just talking to a family member the other day too, and it's kind of like saying that you would stop the alphabet at the letter T or something like that. Why not use the whole alphabet? So what reversals show us in a spread of cards is things where some work can be done, where we might be triggered, where there could be a potential pitfall. So if you don't read reversals, you're not looking at the full picture. But what I try to do is look at them with a constructive and positive perspective. And we're going to especially highlight that today. Here's something that could trip you up, but it's not going to, because you could do this, this, or this. So that's how I look at reversals. And I never worry. If they're there, they're there. It's like the letter Q, R, S, T, A, B, C. Who cares? It's just a letter. It's just a card. Let's not freak out on that. So that's what we're going to do, is change perspective. Like cards in tarot that would be associated with today's changing of perspective would be like the 4 and the 5 of cups, where you're kind of missing something right in front of you, right? And instead we want to get you to like Ace of Cups, where you're magnetizing and bringing things in, all right? After we go into this really cool special topic today, we'll take a look at a question that you might have at the very end, but I always like to meditate before that. So that's the overarching format for today. If I need to ever kind of like deviate a bit, I'll do that, but by and large, that's kind of what we're taking a look at today. So let's get straight into your channeled messages. Actually, one thing before that. First of all, I hit a milestone video yesterday, so if you happen to miss it because I did it in the evening, I know like Europe, you might have been asleep, you can check out the impromptu video that I did, and it's just basically some things that I was guided to take a look at. So I do that from time to time. To make sure that you don't miss it, you should subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and you can use the bell icon to get notifications. You can like a video once per video, so please do that if you haven't already done it. But every time I look at the analytics, I'm always surprised to see that over, sometimes it's like 55 to 60 or 70% of the people that watch don't subscribe. Please do it. It's just a way to show support. That's it. If you'd also like reminders on social media, you can see me here. I also pinned the link in my comment, or in the chat box rather, so that you can grab it there. And if you want to show some support in real time, you can do that through SuperStickers, SuperChats, memberships, and also later using the thanks button right by share. All the information for my schedule can be found on my website. One schedule change for tomorrow. Let's see, I think I'm reading Virgo. So I have a small time change where I normally read in the morning, but I have to read in the evening. It's only one video this month that's affected. It's due to construction. So again, opting into notifications will help you make sure that you don't miss something. All right. Let's now get into your channeled messages. So let me get everything set up here and we'll get started. Okay, so let's share the screen here. Hopefully you can see it. We're going to be taking a look at the hummingbird and also what I saw it feeding off of, which was a hibiscus. And some great messages with both. I've actually covered both a lot. The hummingbird comes to me because if I ever feel like I'm upset about something or I'm blocked, the universe will send this particular totem in to say, it's better than you think. Keep looking up, keep looking around. There's more than meets the eye. So to me, like I just said, it's auspicious, which means it's positive. This totem represents speed. So what does that mean to you? Things could start to happen much faster right now. Keep up with that pace. That's going to be one of the challenges. High frequency energy, of course, is a big piece of this. And high frequency thoughts are something that also come through when I see this totem. It basically, to me, is like the universe saying, cheer up. It's going to be okay. And the little thing buzzing around me like a bee, it kind of always makes me smile. Abundance, of course, is also connected with it because it's a pollinator, just like a bee, just like other types of birds or beetles. As it goes from flower to flower, it's bringing the pollen and it's helping spread abundance. So this is a good luck symbol for all of you today. Let's look at some fun facts with the hummingbird. First of all, let me just switch over here so I can see it a little bit easier. They have long, slender bills, tube-like tongues. Actually, it's really interesting if you've ever watched them sip in what's going on, and we're going to talk about that in the next slide. But they remind us to kind of like drink in this moment because that's what they're doing. They're kind of tasting things, sipping the nectar of life, right? So this gives them the energy that they need, and they have to like eat, I think it was like 2 times their body weight per day. And basically they spend the entire day going from flower to flower. If you've ever happened to watch one at nighttime, it goes into a state called torpor, I think it is, where it almost goes, like the heartbeat almost stops, the temperature goes down, and it just sits there and it kind of freezes. It's a type of hibernation. So even a hummingbird has to pace itself. It kind of spends all this energy all day so that it can survive the night, and it like rinses and repeats the next day. The most important thing that I want to focus on today from this totem, I can always find something that I like about it, but it's drinking in the moment. And I don't often highlight the 4 of Swords in a tarot deck, but I think today it's really important, or in a reading like today, because if we don't have time to, like what do dreams do? They basically give us a chance to digest, analyze, and integrate. So 4 of Swords does the same thing. If we don't have a chance to integrate, to slow down, to kind of figure things out, then we will just burn ourselves out. We're not like that Energizer Bunny commercial. Even it needs to have a battery change from time to time. So the hummingbird is a reminder, you got to rest. Even if it's a few hours, take some time off and basically think to yourself, what did I just go through today? How do I feel about that? Am I tracking to my goals, to my dreams, etc.? So take care of yourself. This includes rest, sleep, food, and fun. The fun piece gets taken out of the equation sometimes, but let's sprinkle in a little bit of 6 of Cups and 2 of Cups in there so you're with friends, family, and loved ones as well. Otherwise, why are you working so hard? What are you doing all of this for? Make sure that you're making time for all of that. You have all that you need, but maybe not all that you want, and that's kind of an interesting way to look at it, but the 6 of Pentacles basically is giving you all the tools for success, all the keys to the kingdom, but you just have to decide how to spend your energy wisely, because you can go from 6 to 9 to 10 to a king or a queen if you make the right choices. And if you also really show up in an opportunity when it presents itself and say, yeah, I'm ready for this right here, right now. But you have to look at that last little piece there where it says say no. That's the most important piece with the 6 of Pentacles. Know when to say when, know when to say no. And so saying yes and saying no, they're simple sentences, like one word, yes or no. But we don't use them enough. Sometimes we just kind of like hedge between, or well, I don't know. When you really don't want to do something, just say it. If you really don't want to hang out with someone, say that. There was an instance with someone that I knew where, I don't know why, I'm sure we've all been in situations like this where there's a friend or someone that you know where you just keep spending time with them but you don't like them. But what I saw is because that person didn't say that sooner, it ended up hurting the other party when they finally let them know their true colors. And it didn't even come directly, it was through word of mouth. So it's better to prune something earlier than to let it get unwieldy and to sort of kind of get out of control. So speak your mind, be kind, be polite. Sometimes no is better, and no is better sooner than later, okay? That's the lesson there. Be discerning is the other piece here. Really not just picky, but kind of going into the fine details and thinking, how is this truly serving me or this person? How is this truly factoring out in the long-term plan? Not just a short-term gain, but the long-term. I think that's really important. So just on, I believe it was on Friday that I was talking about this, which was the redwood as the totem. So things with a humble beginning or looking very small or sort of unimpressive can end up being something amazing. Think of even, certain animals that go through a stage where they're molting or they're, going through metamorphosis. The caterpillar we would never imagine to look like a butterfly, really in our wildest dreams, unless we saw that happening all the time, right? People go through a similar sort of metamorphosis sometimes, and even something that we're working on, we expect it, instant gratification. Why can't this just be perfectly set up right now the way that I see it? Because it's a seed, it's an ace of pentacles, it's the beginning. So don't judge something too harshly, or even sort of like look beyond what its potential is when it first starts. Abundance is en route, and you have to trust that it's going to be what you hope it to be, okay? And what I was saying about the redwoods is like a little tiny seed the size of a tomato seed is what grows that tree that's taller than some skyscrapers. So all that potential energy in a little tiny dot. And if we are correct about the theory of the Big Bang, then this whole universe was a compressed sort of tiny hot point of light and energy that eventually created what you see. So humble beginnings can create amazing star-like results. So don't be impatient, don't give up, don't overlook something. Let's talk about hibiscus as your second totem. Lots of facts that I gathered before. I'm going to highlight these, kind of go through this because it's really the next one that I care the most about. But fun facts here, it's the flower of Hawaii and many other countries actually as well. It is part of the mallow family, the same thing that marshmallows like that we eat, but very different sort of look there. It's used in teas and also is renowned for its antioxidant capability and antibacterial compounds. So it's a very good symbol coming through that shows that we can clean and clear our thoughts, clean and clear our body. And again, it's an attractive magnetic force, which is why it goes hand in hand with the lovely hummingbird that we talked about a moment ago. Some things that you might want to look at, standard disclaimers apply whenever I talk about health, but you might want to look at blood pressure, liver health, and also just make sure that the antioxidants help prevent cancer. So if there's a family history of that, you want to just be extra careful in that sort of area, but that's what this symbol can kind of connect to. What I really want to focus on, though, is its energy around death and rebirth. And particularly it's connected with the goddess Kali, who is a volcanic goddess in Hawaiian culture. And it can also be connected to, not Kali, I was thinking Pele. So Pele is what I think of with the Hawaii. Kali here, though, is destruction, much like Pele, and an aspect basically of Shiva the Destroyer. So she's very much the equal to Shiva, and is also an amazing symbol of the divine feminine. And also, I was just talking about Pele. So Pele and Kali, both goddesses that bring about life and also destroy. And you really have to have a little bit of both in your life, right? So it's death and rebirth, either goddess works. It's because I was talking about Hawaii that my brain got switched there. Kali's name is derived from the feminine form of time or fullness of time. So all of the stuff that I was talking about a little bit ago, where it was like drink in the moment, this is also part of that. This time, this moment right now is the most important because why? You're here, and the decisions that you make based on this moment affect everything down the line. Let me see if I can find the quote on my phone. I can't attribute it because I was watching it was Jamie Lee Curtis talking in an interview about one of her favorite quotes. And she was basically kind of talking about how all of the important moments, and here it is, life hinges on a couple of seconds you never see coming. I guess it's Marisha Pessel, is that her name? But life hinges on a couple of seconds you never see coming. Well, thankfully, we're all intuitive, and we're going to try to do our best to see them coming and be ready for them, because I believe that in life, I'm not such a believer in luck. I believe in synchronicities. And there's a decision in that moment of synchronicity, which is like, what am I going to do about this moment? Am I ready for it? So it's preparedness, how prepared you are, and then how sort of courageous you are to kind of seize the moment. So today we're going to seize that moment, and I'm going to help you do that. One last slide that I want to look at before we move on is This reminds me of the Sheryl Crow song, A Change Could Do You Good. So that energy that we were just talking about, coming from Kali and also even from Pele, since I highlighted her, is really around the energy and the importance of change. So a change of mind or heart could be underway. Make this moment count and don't resist the change, because that quote that I just talked about, you actually are ready for it, but sometimes you just step back from the potential. So I'm going to try to help you awaken to what's in front of you, okay? This channel, this video, and everything that I do is about empowerment. There may be some readers out there that make you feel fearful. It's never how I'm going to work. I'm always going to help set you up for success, okay? So let's get into the next portion here. Just to remind you, if you just joined, we got through the channel messages, and now we're going to move along to the 7-day forecast. I used a deck last night during the impromptu that I haven't for a while. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's highlighted on my my website, so either Maria or Dakota can give you a link to that. It has both directions, so I think this will be kind of cool, because what I was just talking about is we need to look at things from both directions. So let me just zoom in on the table a little bit so we can see it, and let's go ahead now and get set up here for the next 7 days. Again, this is for everybody present, so we're not doing elements or signs just yet. If you're showing up, you've got a message here. So we'll start with today, this Sunday, and then we'll take a look at the week, and then we'll look at next weekend, and then I'll talk about each of these cards. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and next Saturday and Sunday. We've got some interesting cards coming through. All right, so let's begin with the energy of today. So we have the Page of Pentacles starting things off. For those of you watching live, it's right now. If you happen to be watching this a day later, or if you're in Australia, part of the world where we've already gone through Sunday, this is what you need to clean up before you kind of start off the week. So the energy of Sunday is opportunity. We have the Page of Pentacles. The card is upright, and they're really looking through that opportunity from all perspectives. To me, it reminds me of taking a crystal and sort of like looking for the clarity, looking for the flaws. That very discerning energy is what I'm getting here. So be discerning if something's been presented to you, an opportunity, an idea, a partnership. You want to look at it from all angles. When we look at what could have gone wrong and you're not going to be there, it's sort of like only seeing part of it. So you're seeing it on all facets and all dimensions and all directions. So before you say yes, before you say no, put yourself in that other person's shoe, look at it from other parts of different sort of points of view, and then also think to yourself, is there a way that I could improve this? You're not, this is, someone has said this before where I'm just the messenger. That actually bothers me. You're not just the messenger. You have a choice to say what you're going to say. So when you receive something, decide if that's actually what you want to deliver. If you don't believe in the message that's being delivered, don't deliver it. If that other person, if you're worried that there might be something that needs to be done, talk to them first. If they kind of like just say, just do your job, then that's also a sign for you, like if it's in a workplace, that you're not empowered to help. You're just basically you are sort of just a cog. So what I want to wake you up on is to say, if you are in that sort of cog energy, I'm just doing this, I'm just doing that, you're not fully empowered just yet. There are times where we are kind of in an assistant role, especially if you're administrative assistant, but I've seen administrative assistants that are fully empowered, help their bosses. They're not just a cog. So look at who you're giving your time and energy to. There might be a way to sort of upgrade that. And if someone wants you to say something to someone that you don't believe in, use what we talked about in the slide and say, no, you can say that. I'm not going to say that. It's different when you're working. I understand that. But if it's a personal situation, let's say someone doesn't have the guts to kind of like say something to someone and they just want you to do it. You don't have to do it, especially if it's sort of like, if it's a no that they don't want to say, or if they know that they've hurt feelings or whatever it is that's going on, you can stop the chain and say, that's you, that's on you. But here's what I can do for you. You can always counter offer. So there is room for you to adjust the message flow a little bit, because as the messenger, you have a voice too, okay? So this is so important, because I think we see this in politics. We see this in corporations. We see it in families. And we see someone who could stop the chain or could stop the train from crashing, but they don't. So if you can stop something from happening, do. And if you can create a positive change, get in between the two, get those people in the same room and say, no, but I'll make the meeting happen. I can make it happen. I can be there to support you, but I'm not going to say what you need to say for you. Again, this is different. If you're in marketing, PR, etc., that's part of your job, is to help someone do or say something. But in all other aspects of your life, you have a say. So today, make sure that you are helping them see it from a different perspective as well. All right. One of the cool things with the page is you can take something and make it go to the next sort of source. You are more than an in-between person. You're the conduit, and a conduit is powerful because if yesterday I had a power outage here because, again, they're doing like construction and upgrades and stuff, but it's just sort of like when the wires disconnect. If you're the wire connecting that signal, you're possibly the most important piece of that. Here's the message, here's the recipient, but if it doesn't go through, then nothing's getting done. So I want you to upgrade the way that you're thinking about yourself as being the important conduit to deliver the message. Another way to think about this is medium or channel. That's what I'm doing. I'm not feeling like I'm not part of this. I get stuff from spirit and I get to use my brain, my experiences to bring it forth in the most impactful and articulate way possible. How would that make me any less important than the message being delivered or the person that it's delivered to? We're all in this together. So if people can't recognize your part in it, then they're not recognizing your potential. It's like what we saw with the little seed in the redwood, right? So you've got the potential to be that redwood. So enough of a rant on that. There's a lot of energy coming through with that. Today's a really good day to get work done. Look at your finances, look at your business, look at things inside out, get them organized, all right? Let's go to Monday and start looking at the week. I want to take a quick scan of the week before I talk about it. So we have King of Swords, Seven of Cups, Page of Swords, Justice, Ace of Cups. It's pretty good. The week spread is pretty good. We have some interesting energy coming through on the weekend here with the Devil, but let's look at the week ahead first because I like what I see so far. We have the King of Swords on Monday. Really powerful card for communication, for execution of plans, for delivery and receipt of messages. Really just good day all across the board. If there's something that you need to say or do it on Monday. It's strong. You have a good chance of it sort of setting in, and I feel like you're going to be happy with the progress that's made. If there's anything that you want to write down, again, or communicate, or somehow sort of convey, communication is king on Monday. Quite literally, it's King of Swords. So this is a good day for you to focus on that, all right? I feel really positive about Monday. You should be able to see progress, breakthroughs, etc. As we look at Tuesday, this is where things could get a little bit murkier. We have the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is a chance to explore, to brainstorm, to sometimes take a windy road and think, well, how do I feel about this? How do I feel about this? Overall, I love Seven of Cups to a degree because at some point we can get lost in our thoughts. So on Monday, I think it would be good to carve out a time and maybe set a little alarm on your watch or your phone and then say, okay, I'm going to give myself like 4 hours to just have fun and experiment and look around and, sort something out. But then come like noon or 1 o'clock, that's when I'm going to try to come back, regroup, whether it's with yourself or with someone else, and think, what am I going to do? Because you could get lost in this sort of daydreaming energy. So put some structure to how long you get to play in the sandbox and how long you are going to spend on like tangible work. You may also have a difficult time explaining yourself to others. People may say, but what about this? Or it's like when you have, if you're ever driving a car and there's a kid in the back and they start asking questions. Well, why does the sun shine? And why does it, but why is there a sun? And like, it just keeps going on. And if you just say at a certain point, because, they'll say, why? So you may be stuck in one of those loops where there's never enough answers or never enough clarity. So what you can say is, let me do some research. I'll get you some more tangible things. What is it that's holding you up? What is it? Where's the tripping point? And then you can say, I'll take that. I'll come back. I'll present it. It seems like you need a little bit more clarity. Or and this one you have to be careful of. If you've given someone the stuff that they need to understand it, but they're not reading the research, you could just say, you know what? Let me highlight a couple things here for you and take a look at it. I know that you're busy, but I'll kind of like show you the things that are worth looking at. The answer's there actually. So take a quick look at it. Let me know what questions you have, and we'll regroup after you did that so that I'm not going back and sort of like saying things that I've already said. Again, there are situations where you're working with a boss where they'll say, just bring out the pages to me. It is what it is. But in situations, this is an opportunity for the other party to not sort of be sitting on their laurels and waiting for you to do the work. And for you, there's also an encouragement to go back and look and just think, did I read all the instructions? Did I miss something? Did I listen to the message? Because it feels to me like something could be confused and it's already been laid out, okay? Clarity is going to be the hardest thing on Tuesday. Concentration, focus, a little bit of ADHD-like energy here, so you're going to have to focus on trying to structure the day a little bit more. By the time we get to the middle of the week, it looks pretty good. We have another page card here, the Page of Swords. So this is a great day to decide to maybe make some changes, to solicit feedback, to have a meeting. The Page of Swords is a really welcoming card for that as well. Everyone feels like they have a voice. Some good work is getting done at the midweek. So we have like this amazing beginning to the week, and then we have a little bit of cleanup that has to happen on Tuesday, and then around the midweek I start to see progress for you again. Decisions play an important role on Thursday. We have Justice. Justice is in the upright position. Let's look at the card really close. I kind of like how we don't really see a person on this. It's almost about not making it personal. It's about looking at how does this all connect. We see some people in the background, but ultimately it's just the scales there and a hand on the scales. So there are two cards that kind of rule decisions and understanding. One is Judgment, one is Justice. Judgment is a little easier because you know what to do. Sometimes you don't believe in it, sometimes you might not act on it, but you know what to do. With Justice, the wheels are still turning. We can actually see in this particular deck, it's almost like there's a representative of time and we see the cogs in there. So it's sort of like you've got some sort of like mulling over of a big opportunity in front of you to go through before you can say, I believe in this. So get to that decision point, because if you act without fully being invested or deciding upon something, then it's gonna just be topsy-turvy, not sort of organized, and people will have a hard time getting behind you. It's sort of like if you've ever had a leader tell you to do something and you're like, they don't really know what they're doing and they don't really feel this either, then it makes you feel uneasy. So to lead the charge here, you really have to believe, feel, and own your role in this and say, let's do it, okay? Kind of like a coach, let's make this happen. That's the most important thing. If you're waiting on a decision, this is a good day to check in with someone and say, hey, where are we at on this? Do you have any questions? I do believe you can arrive at a decision this day, and it's important to get something decided. If you've been sitting on something, the good news for you is it looks like today, Sunday, you could do some research. You could have some key communications on Monday. You can do some brainstorming and dreaming on Tuesday. Feels like you've got what you need. And this is basically a push from the universe to say, if you're not going to do it now, when are you going to do it? This is the time. If not now, then when? And if not you, then who? You have to kind of make up your decision on this, where you stand. The good news is you're going to feel great by the end of the week. On Friday, we have the Ace of Cups. This is also signifying for some of you, could be a happy meeting, a reunion. There could be this really great influx of creative energy. However you slice it, the cup is in the upright position, and that's telling me that you are set up to receive. You as the magnet are ready to kind of like attract and hold on to whatever comes your way. So everything that you've done all week is setting you up for a good end of the week. And it's really important to sort yourself when it comes to relationships. What do I want? Who do I want? How do I feel about this person? Remembering what I told you earlier, that it's better to say how you feel now than later. And it could also be something where if you need more time, you ask for some more time, but you tell them what you need. Whatever it is, really put yourself out there and put your heart out there so that other person can see that you're in it with them, okay? Looking at the weekend, we have some interesting energy. So let's slide up what we just talked about. Now we have the Devil and the Queen of Cups for Saturday and Sunday. Let's start with the Devil card, and let's look closer to this particular card. So, the Devil's upright. I wish it was reversed, but I'll take it. So what the Devil really is about, because we're looking at it, as I said earlier, everything that we're seeing is setting you up so that you're prepared for this. So you can be prepared for an opportunity. You can also be prepared for a block, which is what this is. So someone in your life isn't ready to give you the freedom to do what you want to do. They aren't ready to let you go. There may be someone in your life that likes to see you dependent on them. This is a really interesting illustration. We see the lovers tied up, and between them is all of this sort of like money, and all of this sort of, you could even see it as like optics and sort of ego. So what you want to do is, if you're triggered on Saturday by someone, really look and see, what are they trying to do? Do they like to have me in that emotional state? Do they like me to depend on them for money, for feedback, for whatever it is, for reinforcement, for emotional sort of validation? How can I release that connection and regain my power? Because the devil, you can even see it in this card. It's like, whatever, if you want me to kind of show up, I'll show up. It's fun for me. But the devil doesn't really love a challenge at some point. So if you can get to the point where you're strong and you're very clear on that, the devil really likes to work with weaker energy or less resistant energy. So you can snap out of that and it'll move on to something else, someone else. And so that's the key thing, is just to keep being persistent, positive, and strong, and then to basically do the opposite of whatever that other person's doing. So if they're trying to start a fight, you're going to say, I don't want to fight. I see what this is about. Let's talk. I'm not angry at you. This is frustrating, but I'm not angry at you. Or you could just say, if you continue to shut me down or shut me out, then how are we ever going to reach a resolution? So you're going to go in and diffuse it in a way that probably will make them upset, and they're just going to walk away. So you have the power to kind of like push that energy to the side. You want to be very careful about promising more than you can sort of deliver. So I would say the one day of the week to avoid any contractual information or promises is next Saturday. You want to avoid getting into a conversation with someone who always has to win. And if there's a temptation and you kind of know before you get into it that that's going to trigger you, say no to it. All of those things will help you avoid the devil. Okay? There could also be a third party that's stepping in that thinks they know better or is trying to, again, cause trouble between you and someone else. And what you're going to remind them is, no, this doesn't work, or I know where you're going with this, and no. If you do this, and you will, we have the Queen of Cups coming through in a wonderful way for next Sunday. So what I really love on this one is we see this sort of like octopus or squid type energy around her. When your heart is truly connected to whatever it is that you are feeling, doing, or trying to manifest, then it knows no bounds. So all of those tentacles, that's opportunity reaching in all the directions and all the dimensions. And those little suction cups are really sticky. So if you really at this point are ready for something, it's going to stick. So I really love the metaphor and the energy that we see here. There could also be someone in your life that has a way of kind of pulling you in. So you want to just make sure that your boundaries, going back to what I had in the slides earlier, the Six of Pentacles, saying no if you need to say no, or that you're not interested, or pushing back, that's important. You might have someone really convincing around you and very charming. And so these two can kind of go hand in hand as well. There may be someone that you love or that you trust, but they have this sort of controlling energy. So a big theme here of you finding your voice, as we talked about in the earlier part of the week, is going to be ever so important. So there you go. Overall, really nice spread for the week ahead. The only tricky day is next Saturday. The rest of the week looks fantastic. And the good news with the devil energy is you usually see it a mile away. It is charming, though, and it is less sort of like what it looks like here than you might imagine. I was listening to an old interview from Tori Amos, and she was talking about how the devil would be attractive. It would be charming. That's why there's certain decks like Light Seers that does it right. Usually it's the person you least expect that comes through with that curveball. So keep your eyes open, keep your third eye open, and you should be able to see that. Interesting that money is on this card too, because one of the things that I saw in dreams was, if it's too good to be true and you know that there's a catch, I want you to dig a little deeper. And this had to do with an offering of money. So if you're looking at something and you're like, I really need to understand this, let me do some research. By all means, do the research, especially if you're buying a house or signing a contract for how long you're going to work somewhere, like intellectual property, if you're giving away something, get someone to take a look at that. All right, let's go ahead and I'm going to leave the cards on the table just in case I want to reference any of these. And let's go to the next portion of the forecast. So if you just joined, we worked through the channeled messages in the 7-day forecast. We're going to take a look next at blessings and blocks. So let me just move. I'm going to move to some different decks that we haven't used in a while. All right, we'll do sun and moon for this one. So blessing and block, let me pull them first, and then we'll talk about what they are. Oh my goodness. This is why I like to use different decks. This is interesting. We've got the Devil card here and the Princess of Swords. This, believe it or not, is the blessing. So seeing what happens, and ostensibly it's next Saturday, is the actual blessing. It's going to help you not spend time and energy on something that you don't need to spend it on anymore. I know that's a lot of like double negatives. So you get to be discerning and you get to free yourself from the web. There could be a Capricorn in your life, so we'll look at it potentially as Capricorn energy too. But basically what I'm seeing here is someone that wants you to be stuck. So you're going to get unstuck. Teacher, parent, friend, it doesn't matter, lover as well. There could be also something where you learn a piece about someone. Maybe they've been keeping it from you. It could have been something, a demon from the past, whether it was an addiction, whether it was an affair, whether it was something that they couldn't even admit to themselves. This could be a healing moment for the two of you, for a relationship, for whatever it is that you're going through. Because when you see something in all of its true colors, light and shadow, then you're able to really decide, do I want this? Is this okay? Unconditional love will be able to get through this. If there's something that's not quite deep, it's more on the shallow end, then you're going to be able to decide to move in the other direction. So it may not be what you wanted to learn or see or know, but it is going to liberate you. Sometimes the devil can liberate you because you see something for what it truly is. And you can say to yourself, no, I know the end to this particular twist in the road or this story, and I'm not really going to go that path anymore. The block this week could be getting it out, saying what you need to say. It could also be focusing way too much on what someone else thinks, said, or did, because this can also be actions. We see the little butterfly, just like the hummingbird this morning, coming through and saying, it's okay. I'll look at it from a different perspective, but sometimes an action, a thought, or a word sits there in our head and it holds us back. So these also cooperate, the blessing and the block. You have a chance to release something mentally, internally, that's blocking you. And when you release it, the sky's the limit, okay? Interesting messages coming through. Very interesting that we keep seeing the Devil card. So I feel heartened by this. I feel like there's this opportunity for you really to kind of like go to the next level. Because whenever, there are a couple cards in tarot that indicate this. One is the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles shows a growth period where a temptation from the past, a lesson from the past comes in and you question yourself, like, have I healed? Am I ready? Eight of Cups can be another one, and the Devil can be another one, because they're cyclical cards, and the Devil's a control card. So you're going to get past this. The universe wants to sometimes test us to say, have you learned everything? Because I have something better for you. If not, you can repeat this year at school. Otherwise, I'll let you graduate to the next degree, the next opportunity. All right. So we just moved through the channel messages, 7-day forecast, blessings, and blocks. Let's get into the elements next. Give me a second here to push all of these cards up. And then let's see, I'll use a different deck for this as well. I'll use the Afro Goddess for this one maybe, or Light Seers. We'll do Light Seers for this. Okay. So we're going to move on to elements. We'll be looking at fire, earth, air, and water. I'm going to turn the camera down and we're going to pull all the cards first, and then I'll talk about each one, okay? This is the only part of today's reading that is going to be specific to the signs, and if you don't know your elements, don't worry. I have them spelled out on each slide. So just give me a second to pull the cards, and then we'll talk. All right. All right, the table's a little bit of a mess here. I'm going to clear it up now. We're just going to look at the elements so that it's nice and clear and easy to look at. All right. This will be for fire. This one will be for earth. The next will be for air. And then we're going to look at water. Okay, so interesting. We didn't get many major arcana cards. It's a lot of work to be done over the next week here because we got minor arcana or pip cards. So let's take a look at this. Actually, we got a couple of pages too. So let's begin with all the fire signs. This will be Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Busy week for you. A good week, actually. The Eight of Wands is a very positive card. What sometimes gets lost in the Eight of Wands is that you're not alone. There's a lot of people in this sort of crowded room here that are holding up all the wands, but they get lost sometimes. So one of the things that you might be asked or challenged to do this week is to find a way to get people on the same page. Because what I see is that there could be a lot of people in their own silos focusing on their own sort of check marks and things that they have to do, but they're not coming together. A lot's getting done, but is it cohesive? That's the question that my guides want me to ask you when we're looking at this. Also, one of the things for you is how to maintain momentum, because I'm seeing things starting to pick up in a really nice way. So anything that you've been doing that's been leading to this momentum, this sort of push, by all means, keep doing that. That's a very good thing. And if you could kind of like engage the people around you and kind of, again, find a common goal or interest, it's just going to pull that in a better direction. This is really good if you are owning your own business, if you're in school, if you're starting something. It just shows me a lot of productive energy. You could be so busy that you're working hard but not as smart as you could. So work more intelligently, be very thoughtful about how much you're putting on your plate. And once you do that, you're going to be able to get a lot more done. So I think it is about pacing. Don't worry, I see that there is more coming through. So just pace yourself like this was a long distance run. And again, for all my fire signs, for all my fire signs, this is going to be a really great week ahead for you. Okay? Very good energy. Nothing really negative to say about the Eight of Wands. Let's move on to the next sign. We're going to look now at Earth, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Relationships play an important role for you this week. We have the Page of Cups. I always love this card because it has that little pig in the corner, when pigs fly, and then we also see the coming together, an unexpected coming together. What's interesting on this one is that we see, it's almost as if this card has been printed strangely. So we see his feet here, and it's almost like he doesn't see the potential for himself or that other person. So talking again about the potential. You could also be looking up to someone and wondering, are they out of my league? Can I get this job? Can I be in this relationship? Will this happen? The truth is, both of you may not be seeing one another. There's some timing issues that are off. So if it doesn't work, don't force it. Don't force the meeting. And also when you meet with someone, you might have to pull them down a little bit, or you might have to go up a little bit to kind of meet energetically. You're on different mental spaces, different mental pages. So I like that the other party seems to have their head in the clouds in that very exploratory Seven of Cups energy. You seem to be a little bit more grounded. And what you're going to have to try to do is find a common ground in between. Say, I really like this idea. I want to see where it goes. I have a couple of questions that we have to look at to make sure that we're able to get where you want to be. But I feel it. Show the passion. In a relationship, it's just a good week to spend time with someone, but you're going to have to catch up with them. They might have to catch up with you. Putting the time on the calendar, I think, is going to be the trickiest and the most important thing this week to do. Have some fun. This is especially for my Capricorns out there. A lot of times you focus a lot on pushing yourself too much. Have some fun in the work that you're doing. Make some time. But for all of the earth signs, you tend to be very grounded. And I have two earth placements. I have a Capricorn ascendant and a Taurus moon, so I understand. So this is really about trying to find the joy in the activity that you're doing and to prioritize fun because, like I said earlier, it's going to make you more productive. It makes you more well-balanced and more grounded, ironically. So it's not all about facts, figures, and grades and expectations. It's also about, what are you doing this for? What's the payoff? Enjoy the payoff this week. All right, earth signs? Pretty good stuff overall. A great time to focus on love, relationships, fun, and creativity. All right, let's move now from Earth to Air, looking at Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. So this is a really interesting week for you for like mental downloads. We have the Page of Swords here. The interesting thing, I'm going to pull the graphic off for a second. You can see her walking on a tightrope. The thing here is that she's doing too much at once. I love that many of you are channeling great ideas right now. You have a way to kind of like take the idea and maybe like the current applied sort of skills and ideas and bring them into a new place. But there's too much going on. The card in reverse is showing me, watch how much you're doing, watch what you're saying, watch where you're going. You could end up either making a mistake, like a typo, or missing something in a, completing a test or something like that. You could also end up getting yourself in trouble by trying to do too much. So it's really a little bit of a balancing act for you this week. What's really worth your time and energy? Maybe compartmentalize a little bit, like talking about the, Tuesday of this week, I believe. So maybe take Tuesday to be the brainstorming day, and you can use Monday and Wednesday to really focus on how it's all going to factor out. And then make sure that you're not cutting yourself too thin when it comes to resources, timing, etc. You can do a lot. You can do almost anything. You're looking at it from a bird's eye perspective, but I do feel like you don't have to do this all alone. And I talked earlier about the importance of pages. We got a couple of them this week. So remembering that your part of this equation is just as powerful as that person or that person, and you want to make sure that all of it gets done. Communication could be tricky this week, even though all of you do a good job with communication. You might have to just say something, get it out of your mind, your throat, your head, and say, like I said, yes, no, or we need to talk about this in better words than that. Because if you don't, that's going to get stuck in your head and it's getting in the way of you being able to move on to the next thing. So having a necessary conversation without it getting elevated, without it getting too critical is going to be key. The good news is if any of the elements could deal with this, air can deal with this, because Libra, you're very good at sort of looking at things from both sides. Aquarius, very good at bird's eye view, and you're very decisive. Gemini may have a little bit harder time deciding, but it can come up with a solution that other signs would never see. So all of you have something unique to bring to the equation, where you could come out with this sort of like idea from left field, or you could just be decisive when others aren't, or you could really mediate and bring it to a nice place. So I love air, and that air is my, I'm Libra sun, but I know Geminis and Aquarius is in my life, and I've seen all of this in action. Very different takes on being able to look at information and deliver it, but all equally strong. So you just have to put your special thumbprint on it this week and get it out and get it finished so that you can move on to something better. Okay? There you go. Let's wrap up with the water signs. So this is, of course, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So you are going to find this sort of Zen ability to not get freaked out with how much is going on, and know that if somebody says no, if you say no, that this is actually, I've said this before, that rejection is a form of protection. So pushing back, delegation is also a form of being able to have self-preservation. So by all means, make sure that you're doing that for yourself. You have every right to push back and say, this is too much, or I feel overwhelmed with this, or I could use some assistance here. Can I count on you? There are a lot of ways to push back other than saying no. But look at how zen and peaceful she is with that. Sometimes we freak ourselves out when we have to sort of say something difficult. She's okay with it. So being at peace with a lot of activity, with having a difficult conversation, or with just delegating and not worrying about if they're going to do it right. That's on them at a certain point. You set them up for success, you check in on them, and then it's up to the other person if they can follow through. You can't do everything. So for my water signs out there, the important thing is to focus on understanding the importance of you taking care of yourself and realizing that when you stand up for what you are worth and what you need to do, then people respect you more. They're not going to tap you out resource-wise. They're not going to steamroll past you. They'll be like, okay, that person knows how far they can go, and I know how far I can push them. In particular, in relationships, and oftentimes wherever we work, the people around us will just test you. Do they know their limits? So you're going to find them this month, okay? This could also be a really good time to focus on strength building in your mind and in your body. This card I normally associate with exercise, but this could be something like where you're deciding to use your own body weight. You don't have to use like, free weights or anything like that, to just strengthen like your muscles and your body itself. Just like the strength card, the stronger you are physically and mentally and also emotionally, the better conduit you could be. Because the only two cards that, or the only, when we were looking at the only two elements, I should say, we're looking at fire and water. They're the only ones that didn't give me court cards. So there's a little bit of work, and they're all very similar this week. This is why I kind of do collectives here. So we see most of you in the page energy, and some of you needing to push a little bit with maintaining momentum or pushing back and delegating so you can enable yourself to either take the lead or be seen as a leader. And then all of these could have been pages, basically. Okay? So some commonality even as we look at the elemental breakdown this week. All of the cards look to be pretty good to me, and just a couple of challenges there, but nothing that isn't beyond your capabilities. Okay, let's do a quick regroup of where we're at. We're going to do a viewer's and a reader's choice next. As we take a look at this, it's one of my favorite parts too, because it gives you a chance to sort of vote on something. So let's go ahead now and get everything set up here and go into viewer's and reader's choice. So let me set up the poll first, and I'm just going to do it from memory because I've cleared the cards here. So viewer's choice. So one of the things that stuck with me when I was looking at everything a couple moments ago was the devil card that came through twice. So I'm going to put a couple of different ways that we can look at this. I think one of them is being able to recognize that sort of devil energy. So being able to see true colors. Let's see. See the true colors. Recognize the devil energy. It's a weird way to put it, but you know what I'm saying with that. So seeing someone's true colors or a situation's true colors. The other thing here would be reclaiming one's power, reclaiming your power, speaking up, because it could be both. And then I think the other thing here that I want to look at is going way back to what I talked about in the slides, discernment, being able to make the smart choices, making the best choices. 6 of Pentacles. And I think any of these would be great choices for you. So I'm going to throw that out for you to vote on. And while you're voting on that, let me see what I want to do here. I'm going to do a wild card. So I'm going to ask, I did something in yesterday's reading, actually. Let's change this. So what is the thing that you're missing? I asked a question yesterday, which is what are you afraid to ask? I'm going to look at it a little different today, and I'm going to say, what is it that you're afraid to look at? What is it that you might be overlooking? So I'm going to pull an oracle card for this one to give us a high-level perspective. Crossroads. And let's actually pull a tarot card with it as well to complement it and see what the advice is. And then I'll walk through that, and then I'll look at your vote after this. Okay, so we have a couple of beautiful cards here. Let's pull them close to the camera so we can see them a little bit better. All right, so we have, to me, the crossroads here. And I love the way she's sort of saying, I could go in any direction. All of this looks good. What do I do? Sometimes we're faced with that situation where it feels like it can be sort of like the best possible problem to have, which is I can't choose between this. I like this person, I like this person, I like this project, I like this project. So when it comes to this, what are we looking at here? It's a gut instinct. We have the Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands, it's how you feel. It's not talking yourself into an oblivion. It's not thinking yourself into oblivion. It's the first thing that comes to mind. Close your eyes and think, of the two, there's something that's stronger. There's one path that you would take if you had no information, just on looks or feel alone. And that's really what I want you to kind of go. Also, where is the big opportunity here? Because to me, this almost looks like a relay race where the person's handing off the baton, right? So where do you get the most opportunity to show how you feel, how you think, where can you actually have the most autonomy? And that's where you're actually going to be able to thrive, okay? The cool thing with this crossroads is it didn't look like there was a block or a sign or a door. So try one path. If you don't like it, you can always try another path. Sometimes we think too long, too hard about something when it's really just right in front of you. The one where you can grow the most, the one where you're empowered the most, the one where your mind or your heart is really saying, yeah, this is what I feel, okay? And you can always try. I feel like it's time to take a fork in the road. So it might be more exciting to go right or left than just straight. So if it's a bit of a change or a bit of a turn, you can manage this turn, okay? Very cool. Thank you for mentioning that. It does match my shirt. So if I pull this upright, there we go. There's always one shirt that matches. This one definitely matches. That's so cool. I like bright colors. I don't always wear them on the channel. There are some colors I can't wear because of the camera, like blues tend to make weird color shifts happen here, but I really love bright yellows and oranges because sometimes we don't wear them enough. Even as a person or as a reader, it's showing power. So if you ever want to really make a splash, wear what I'm wearing, like bright yellow or bright orange. It's good. This is my solar plexus and also a little bit of root chakra coming in here. And also even the black colors. It's good to have this bright color. Fun fact, Sting, the singer, I think his name is Gordon, but like he used to wear a striped shirt and kind of look like a bee. And I thought that's how I got the name Sting. So the color that you wear can really make an impact. So don't be afraid to do that. Just a little bit of fun facts here. All right. So let's go ahead now and see what's winning for you. We have a pretty close match, so I'll probably pull both just so that there's no hurt feelings here. When it's 1 or 2 points away, I look at it here. So yeah, it's really close. Making the best choices, 6 of Pentacles, and seeing the true colors, recognizing the devil energy. All right, so I'll pull both, and we'll see what's coming through for this. All right, so for the first one, making choices, 6 of Pentacles, being discerning, we have the Ace of Cups. For the next one, which was seeing the true colors, recognizing the devil, we have 4 of Swords, which is very much in alignment with what I talked about earlier. So first things first, let's talk about the first question that you posed here. So making the best choices. For some of you, if you do not feel it, if you feel exhausted by an opportunity, a person, something that's being presented to you, if you feel angry every time you think about this, if you feel frustrated, how you feel is absolutely a connection to your intuitive self. So listen to the feelings, listen to your heart, listen to your gut, listen to the body overall. And if it just doesn't feel right, it's not right, because the whole thing about this was deciding to kind of like make a better choice, okay? So make a better choice. The other thing here is choose to be happy. It's if you've been putting yourself in the second seat or in the back seat or the back burner and you're always waiting for someone else, prioritizing someone else, you should be receiving just as much as you're giving to this sort of person, place, or thing. So this is about making sure that your heart is happy, that you are receiving, and that one last thing here is if someone isn't ready for you, if you aren't ready for them, that you don't force that moment in time. You can't make the heart feel something it doesn't. The Bonnie Raitt song, I don't know if it was hers originally, but I Can't Make You Love Me If You Don't. So important there to listen to those wise words, because I think the next line is you can't make your heart feel something that it won't. So she's kind of mourning the fact that she can't get someone that she wants in her life, and also maybe that she can't fake it. You can cut it either way. So you can't fake it. If you feel it, you feel it. If you don't, you don't. This can be a job. This can be a person. This can be a choice in your life that you're making. If it doesn't feel right, there's no amount of time that's going to make you feel better if it doesn't feel right at the onset. So that's the number one most important message coming through for how to recognize the devil and to choose a little bit more wisely. So actually not just it's a segue into the next one. These two are very close. That's what I think why it's kind of blurring here. But making the best choice. It's saying if your heart doesn't feel it, it's going to lead to the devil. And now let's look at the devil energy, which came through. And that was with the Four of Swords. So I talked about not taking a time to integrate. One of the reasons we can get the devil energy coming through is what I just talked about. We don't feel it, but we do it anyway. The other reason that we get it is because we're on this roller coaster that never ends. And imagine that you were just on a nonstop roller coaster. You'd want to throw up after a while. You can't handle like up, down, all around, this, that. You have to get off the ride, let your eustachian tubes clear out, sit down and say, all right, do I really want to go down that ride again, or am I ready for something else? So sleep, integration, talking to someone. This can also be like talking to a therapist, talking to a friend. It doesn't mean that it has to just be you going to sleep. It's resting and thinking and integrating that's important. If you don't do that, you keep making the same mistakes. So trust your heart and take a break. These are both going to help you. They were tied for a reason. You'll make smarter choices and you'll avoid that sort of devil-like energy that came through. Okay? So good choices, everyone. All right, let me just go ahead and get back into my main screen here. So we've basically now gotten to the fun part. We're going to look at using positivity as a magnet to manifest. And so for this portion, I'll let you vote on, maybe I'll let you vote on the decks. Maybe I'll just choose it today. I'm trying to see here what's calling to me. Let's see here. Let me look at the colors on these because that's important too. All right, I'll look at a few choices here. Let me see which ones are calling to me. Okay, I'm going to give you some choices, including one that I used earlier. All right, so let's go ahead now and take a look at what I'm going to let you vote on today. Let's see here. I think all of these are good choices. Let me see if... Is there any one that I maybe want to take out for a different choice? Let's see. I might swap this one for this one. I'm going to do a last minute swap. Okay. Actually, no, I'm going to leave the original in. My guides are saying, trust your intuition. All right, so we're going to do this. These are the four that you can choose from. Okay, let me set up the voting right now. I'll talk about which one is which. I'll show you a few cards of each, and then we'll go forward from there. I really need to know the name of this one. Let me look at my website, but for now I'm going to put option one. I'm going to put the two-sided one. We'll just call it two-sided cards. The next one is the Light Seers, and then we have the Modern Witch, and then we have the True Heart Intuitive. The other one, the first one, I haven't seen for so long that I forgot. Let me look at my website real quick. I'm going to put the poll out here and then I'll identify it just so we're not calling it the two-sided cards. And by the way, you can always go to my website to look this up. It's a question that my moderators get all the time. And I have a special portion of my website that shows decks. So let me see if I can find it visually while all of you are voting. And then I'll show you what these look like. Let's see. Watch it be the one card that I didn't put up there. All right, we're not going to worry about it. I'm doing a quick scan. I think I haven't used it in so long that it just isn't even up there. So I'm glad we chose it. I'll look at it later. All right, so let's take a look real quick at, obviously you've seen this one. It has both sides. Yeah, there we go. It's Revelations. Thank you, Sarah, for that. This is a Revelations deck. So I'll add it to my website later. This is the Light Seers deck, option number 2. And it's a great deck. It's one of my favorites. So colorful, so beautiful, filled with light, just like it said. Modern Witch, it's a Rider-Waite-Smith derivative with some cool like twists and turns, but it's pretty true to form. So if you just like Rider-Waite-Smith, there you go. And then we have the True Heart Intuitive, which, as you can see, already has some really cool interpretations. It is not just a Rider-Waite-Smith derivative. It's just cool. All right. Let's see which one is in the lead. And thank you again to the crowdsourcing for helping me see what it was. All right, so let's see. We have True Heart Intuitive with 29% of the vote. Light Seers with 29. Now the True Hearts with 31. All right, I'm going to end the poll. It looks like True Heart Intuitive is the one that's in the lead. I'll give everyone a moment here to make sure that that is correct, because I don't want people saying that I chose the wrong one. And then we'll get into the fun stuff. All right. waiting for everything to show up. And let's see, True Heart Intuitive with 30, and then Light Seers with 30. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're gonna let the cards decide. So whichever card is better. All right, so this is the True Heart Intuitive. We got the Princess of Cups, pretty darn hard to beat. Let's look at Light Seers. We got the Queen of Cups. The cards have spoken. All right. That was funny. When in doubt, trust the cards. All right, everyone. Thank you for voting. Thank you for the guides and the cards for participating. And let's get into it. Give me a second here just to get my camera set up. All right, so this is for everybody present. This portion of the reading can actually be timeless. And so that means at any point in your life when you're ready to sort of be positive, or if you're dealing with some challenges or some negativity in your life, then this is going to help you navigate that and get into a more positive mindset and use that as a way for you to really be your most powerful. That was funny, even how it was in the Suit of Cups. It was a pretty dead heat for this. What I'll maybe do for some of like the big idea and for the final card, I'll use the other deck. That's usually what I do when it's that close of a tie. How's everybody doing with the change of time? Hopefully you're all awake, and if anybody joined late, you came in for perfect timing. We have one card here that volunteered. Let me go ahead and pick my other card, Kundalini Awakening, with that one. Really interesting. The deers have been coming through so much in the last couple of readings. Last night, I pulled a few of those in the impromptu. Just feels like there's a lot of tentative or tepid energy as we're stepping into the next big thing. All right. Let's take a look at what's coming through here. We're going to start with your catalyst. So I was talking to someone in my life that's kind of spiritually attuned, and they were talking about a trip to Egypt. It was really fascinating. And they were saying, like, when they were meditating and looking up at the top of the pyramids, they could kind of see through to the stars. And one of the cool things that I thought of that is that, you know, sometimes we're just limited. You have to turn off your own, like, our physical eyes. We have to really go into the third eye and see beyond the emptiness, beyond the empty room. And what's really out there is the sky's the limit. And to me, this is what that's really feeling and looking like, is the top of the pyramid that he was talking about. So I think for you, if you can see that everything has to start somewhere, that an empty space is also an open canvas, a blank canvas on which you can paint, on which you can explore and really kind of create, then it's exciting. So go as far as you can and really have this sort of opportunity to imagine that you're open to something being different. So let's take it back to the whole big idea, this part of this spread here. By the way, we're looking at the special topic right now if you just joined. So the special topic is, again, being able to be positive and allow that positivity to be a magnet for abundance. So what this would be is that the negative of this would say, I don't see anything, therefore it doesn't exist. The positive would be, I'm not limited, therefore I can build as far as I want to, I can explore as much as I'd like. I'm not limited by what was here before because there's nothing here before. So you don't have to try to match something else. You can just be as true to yourself and as wild as you'd like to be. So no limits is what I see as a sort of positive message. And some of you would see no guidance as the negative. So Seek inspiration if you need it, but realize that you're being set up in this moment to be free. Free to decide, free to make a mistake, free to learn, free to succeed. Freedom is what I see. So that's sort of like the positive take on that. Looking at the center cards, I believe this is the one that won for this deck. So she wanted to come through a couple of times. But your center card is the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is basically an encouragement for you to not give up. The sort of critical mind would be saying, I've worked so hard, but I'm not there yet. Look at my friend, look at my sister, look at my cousin, look at my teacher, whomever. How did they get all of this and why am I not there yet? The positive on this one is saying, but look how far you've come. And also look at how strong you are. Do you see your light? Do you see that you're just a few steps away from being the Page of Wands? This particular character does, but not all of the Nine of Wands card characters would see that. A lot of times we'll see a man or a woman with a bandage on their forehead and they're a little forlorn. Sometimes they're really strong, but it's sort of like, when will the battle end? When will the struggle end? So there may be a way to work smarter or to gather more people, gather more forces, gather more support. And if you can be the galvanizing piece there, that's going to be key. But to be that, you have to in your head say, I've come this far. I'm certainly not going to give up now. And none of us can give up because it's done. It's done. We just have to finish what we started. So that's the positive there. Push. Find the push, get up and move. Something that I had to do this morning when I thought, is it really this time? Because I feel like sleeping. Meanwhile, Apollo in the background with his blanket, his paw in the air is like, yeah, Dad, I don't know what you're doing. It's time to sleep. But for the rest of us, we had to push through, right? So gotta love the dog. So find that extra push, you're going to be okay. We have the card that spoke and said, this is the deck to use. We have the Queen of Cups coming through. She's powerful. She's not a typical Queen of Cups. She is not just the recipient. She's also sending the energy. I talk about cups being very much like a satellite, tantamount to a big satellite dish. They can receive, they can reject, they can also broadcast. And this, if I've ever seen a broadcasting Queen of Cups, is definitely that. She doesn't even have the crown on her head. It's above her. She's moving everything around her. It looks like magician and sorceress energy, like she's the high priestess. She was the high priestess in another incarnation. So basically what you're going to do is use your passion as power. I can get people engaged in what I'm doing because I feel so strongly about it. I can make this happen because my heart tells me it's real, tells me it's true. I feel it. Do you feel it? So passion is key. Some of you may be looking for passion. So if we were to flip it to the other side of the magnet, you're looking for her. She's coming through and saying, you are her. So just be the magnet. Don't look for it. Don't look for the source. And this is why I don't like all of the sort of focus on your other or better half, your equals. So I don't run away from love, but when love comes through on the readings, it's because you've done the work and now someone else is coming through to celebrate, to show you something else, etc. So be the teacher, be the source. Don't look for the thing to plug into. And that's what the Queen of Cups is showing you. Feel it on an energetic level. You've done the work. You've lived the lifetimes. In this lifetime, you've experienced what you needed to. Eight of Pentacles can be lessons, hard earned, I should say, as well. And sometimes we feel like we have to keep proving ourselves. You don't have to prove yourself anymore. That's the simple message with this card reversed. So if you're ready to stop proving yourself and just start applying the lessons, things will start to get really interesting for you. If there's something in your life that you feel like you need to finish up, by all means, finish it up. This can be finishing what you started and also realizing you don't have to do any more to prove yourself to someone else, okay? Now we have the partnership energy coming through here, King of Cups. So I was harping on this one so much because the more at ease you are with yourself, the easier it's going to be for you to meet someone else in your life that's on that same wavelength. Notice how both of these cup cards are meditative. Their eyes are closed, they're tuned in. They feel and see with their heart, with their third eye. And it's not just about, these aren't like passionate cards, but they're passionate. They're feeling it from the inside out, so on all levels here. Some of you may be looking for love, but it's going to come in a way that you didn't expect. Neither of them, like, he doesn't see the shit behind him. He probably is calling it in. He probably is open to it, but he may not see it. So the important thing for you is to tune in, but then also take a moment to look right, left, up, down, because we want to avoid Four of Cups energy here. So I feel like who you're looking for or what you're looking for, it's like right under your nose. The cards are literally touching. And what I love about this is you've worked hard. Literally, you've learned the lessons you needed to learn. You've worked hard. Now we see coming through the Four of Wands here. We'll talk about this in a second, but all the cups all the cards at the center are fantastic. Partnership, hard work, friendship. I actually see something really nice if you are looking for love. I also see something really nice if you're trying to resolve a challenge between you and a partner. And even if you're not interested in love, I'm kind of jumping ahead, I still feel like there's really great energy around cooperation. This is one of the best cards for collaboration, cooperation, and partnership, the Four of Wands. Let's talk about where your head's at right now, because that could affect a lot. You don't want to hear, you don't want to listen to someone else saying you need to do it this way. We even see this guy kind of laughing at authority, right? The card is reversed, and it's just sort of like, that may have worked for you, that may have worked in the last century. This doesn't work for me. I can't fit that mold. Guess what? That's okay. Have a good laugh and then figure out what you're going to do about it. How are you going to surprise other people? Don't argue with them. Surprise them by being successful, by being grounded, by really making this your experience. If I think back, I'm trying to remember the year that someone told it to me. I think it was around like 2008. It's been a while. But I was working at one of my, it was this third job, but like the second really big job that I had. And I was in the presence of just a terrible boss. But I had some of the best sort of friendships there. And the person told me, that was giving me advice when I found a new job, she said, I'm so happy for you. Don't get even, just be really successful. You show this person that they were wrong. I never forgot the advice, and I did. And even what I'm doing now is so different than what people expected, and I don't care, because it's just what I want to do. So if you just give it 110%, people that know me know that I'm not going to do anything half-hearted. So if I go in, even if it's a weird path that's unexpected, I'm going to bring my A game. So bring your A game. Okay? And then people can't help but to, what? Be in your corner. And that's what we see next. Now, your friends and your allies could be coming from unexpected places as well. There's a little bit of a twist. Just because you see things doesn't mean you're going to see everything. The universe wants us to have a few surprises. Going back to that quote that I talked about earlier, I'm going to try, I need to memorize this one. Life hinges on a couple of seconds that you never see coming. Well, as I said earlier, it's not about not seeing them coming. It's about not recognizing that it is one of those moments. So for some of you, this recognition could be in the form of a key partnership or friendship. I recognize it on a heart and a soul level. And because we got so much cup energy coming through here, you should feel it. I've been fortunate enough to have maybe like 3 or 4 what I would term best friends in my lifetime, all of whom I still have kept in touch with. Maybe we've moved into different countries, into different parts of the world, the US, and different paths, but we all keep in touch. The key thing that I remember in the pivotal first meetings, though, was I thought, wow, this is going to be something. I don't know what yet, but I feel a connection that I haven't felt before. The person that I would call my best friend, that's what I felt. It was just sort of like, wow, it's kind of like you met a brother or a sister, right? So I want you to trust that even if the age is different, the cultural background or language or religion is different from what you expected, because your soul is what they're recognizing and what you're recognizing. So this would be a nice kind of soulmate. We spend a lot of time and energy looking for like sensual or sexual soulmates, but platonic soulmates can be just as engaging. It has to start with the friendship first. You may find a friend with whom you develop more than friendship, but you may just have this deep brother or sister-like energy that you connect with. So trust it when you feel it. It's very few and far between that these sort of moments come through. So when you're ready to be positive and change your energy, you're going to meet someone that can really kind of just vibe with you in a way that no one has before. So I want you to get there. You're not looking for someone to inspire you. Be the inspiration, right? All right. Part of that includes and embodies you coming out of your shell. So it's not a surprise that you're coming through with Hermit energy. Hermit is a hidden star. This Hermit, you could look at this Hermit card a couple of ways. One is that they're not ready to embrace the star. The other one is that they've absorbed and become more than what was kind of contained in that little lantern there. Either way, the Hermit is a phase. It's not a place to exist permanently. Unless we're going to be something like a monk or something like that. Most of us want to step out and to kind of share the enlightenment and share this sort of new you. So when are you ready to show your true colors? When you do that, then the world starts knocking. Then things start to really get exciting for you, okay? Environmentally, people are ready to invest in you. And this is figurative too. It's not necessarily just money, although the Wheel of Fortune can be. We see chips that you would see in like Monte Carlo or in Vegas. You have to take a calculated leap of faith or risk. This Wheel of Fortune is a combination of the Fool and the Wheel. And for some of you, that there's hesitation. You're a good bet. Like your future, your happiness, that's a good bet. You have to sort of like be ready and willing to kind of accept that. We see the wrinkles in time space as she kind of decides, yes, I'm going to pull all of this opportunity into this moment. So it's like a tesseract if we go to a wrinkle in time. She's creating a wormhole or an opening of her own sort of like creation there. So I want you to kind of believe that you can open up the portal. You don't have to wait for something to be handed to you. I wanted to do a job that I didn't know that existed when I was a kid. So I'm making up my own job as we speak. So you can kind of make your own way. There's not always a resume. There's not always a path. Every day is a winding road, just like this, or like a mountain that we have to climb. And that's kind of why I wore this today. I had a couple of choices. I had a hiking trail shirt, and then I had this one, and this one won out. So glad I wore it. With the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, you may be valuing things differently. So in the past, maybe you thought money was more important. Maybe now you think time is more important. That's kind of one of the things I think many of us learn the older we get. 20s and 30s, you're really chasing dollars and euros and money. Towards the middle to latter part of your life or end of your life, you think the money doesn't matter. I need it, but the time, the experience, the richness, the quality of that moment is more than the money. So you might be valuing things differently. You might be valuing the friendships a little bit more, time with your partner a little bit more, just being able to learn and experience things. So your valuation, how you're evaluating and how you're putting value into things changes what you're going to decide to do with that. So let's move on to the next piece. So as we look at your hopes, fears, and opportunity, we have one of my favorite Queen of Pentacles cards because she's so confident. Don't we wish we could all have that confidence every single day, every single moment? She's saying, honey, you sure as heck can do that if you want to. So find a way to feel confident and comfortable in your skin. And I say that because there's a little bit of a shedding of the skin that's happening here. So as we step into something new, sometimes it just feels like we're exposed, right? So this is the Hermit that's getting ready to come out of his or her shell. This is what results in it, which is this strong, capable, grounded, creative force. So when you're ready to kind of go there, great things abound here. And with hopes, fears, and opportunity, you really couldn't ask for much of a better card than the Queen of Pentacles because she has a Midas touch, a green thumb. Everything that she touches, you start to see growth and movement in. And she leads us to a card of empowerment here. We have the King of Swords here reversed. So for this one, what I'm seeing is many of you are going to feel much more outspoken, much more confident than you have before. But things are happening fast and people are looking to you to take swift action, to be a leader that is decisive, that is concise, and that is active and participating. Because the card is reversed, he comes off his throne and he actually is a participant. We actually don't even see him sitting on a throne. He's at the top of the mountain and he's definitely a team player. Look at him with all the different flying creatures on the planet, owls and bats and hawks and you name it. Even I want to say a hummingbird, it's not, it's the dragonfly. So what we see here is diversity in opinion, diversity in roles, and being a part of that. So strong leaders don't have to say they're strong. They don't have to always be in that sort of figurehead role. They can also be actively working with everybody. That is kind of hearkening back to the Eight of Wands energy that I was looking at for one of the, I think it might have been my fire signs earlier. This is you taking that leadership role, but also working with the team. That's really inspiring when you see a leader kind of like roll up their sleeves and do the work with you. You trust in their skill, you trust that they're part of this sort of solution, and it can be really exciting. Let's go ahead and expand this forecast to look at elements of health, wealth, love, and destiny, but in a different sort of vein. It's not just as I would read it for the week or the month. We're looking at this really focusing on a deeper level, what's healthy for you. So just a reminder, what we look at, it is health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to start with health. And you got 2 cards coming through for health. The first one was a sort of Kundalini awakening. We all have power like the snake that's kind of coiled up within us. A Kundalini awakening happens when from the core all the way to the crown, we sort of feel this moment of empowerment. It can, like we see here, this person almost doesn't have a crown. It's almost like like a volcano where you blow your top. Suddenly you're open up to the world and things just start to flow when this happens. So for many of you, what are you looking for? Enlightenment, mental growth, challenge, an ability to really use all the different skills that you have and that you want to show. So in your life, you need to feel that sense of support and expansion. If it's not existing, then it is just an empty room. You're ready to fill that room with new thoughts, with new ideas. And then we see an almost dizzying force on this card. This is like centrifugal motion, right? This is like if you spin something around, like if you were taking a long exposure and I had a flashlight on a rope, it would make this sort of centrifugal outline. If you were to do a slow exposure of the stars, the same thing happens. It's just all these lines. So what I think you need to do is slow down, because it's hard to see what's going on from this perspective. This tells me that when you slow down, you find your power, you find your strength. The Kundalini awakening happens. And you can find out where you are in this sort of, this power is kind of blurred in this. These could be the same pictures, just moving too fast, and this is taking the time to have the Four of Swords moment that we came through a couple of times, actually. It was the way that we could avoid the devil energy. It made an appearance in the slides that I wrote a little bit earlier. So slow down, okay? I'm just quickly scanning the cards to see if there's anything else going on with your health or mental health as well. One thing that I see here is that some of you are just feeling isolated. So take time to feel less isolated, to connect with people that are on that same page as you are. Value things differently. I think it's important to take a look at your time, your money, and how you're spending your time, and sort of look at, is it really worth the extra money if I'm not enjoying myself? That's more of a rhetorical question or a statement than a question. Overall, I'm looking at this as pretty positive. I think it really is just about slowing yourself down a little bit, okay? Let's move on to your wealth card. We have the hawk, and I love what we saw with this particular card because we saw all the different flying creatures here. So when we're looking at wealth, it is about finding a way to both be a leader but also be a team player, being able to sort of participate there, getting a bird's eye perspective on things, seeing things from all angles. You definitely have a chance right now for something wonderful to happen. The environmental card is the wheel and the opportunity is the Queen of Pentacles. Yes and yes, exclamation point. Those are 2 great things to come through. But you have to come out of your shell. You have to see yourself as more than what you were. You have to realize that even if it doesn't exist, that doesn't mean you can't do it. These devices that we're using right now, when Steve Jobs introduced the first iPhone, BlackBerry laughed at him. They're like, who's going to want to tap on the phone when you could have a keyboard? And BlackBerry's shut down now for the most part. So we need to kind of like imagine something that doesn't exist. Research and development, it's an important thing. So go beyond expectations and see the stars that are beyond the empty room. Let me see what else is coming through here. If there was something like training, skills, school that you want to finish, by all means do that. The way that you're going to find the next opportunity is through an inner network. It's not necessarily through a cold application. You want to know someone if you can. If not, you want to make a really good rapport with the person that you talk to whenever this happens, okay? Pretty good. All right, moving on to love. Here's where we have the shy deer spirit coming through. So this does remind me a lot of my little puppy in the background. When I first met Apollo, he hid under anything actually, but under my bed for 2 or 3 days. Like he would come out, but whenever I was like working or something like that, he would go and hide. And then he was really shy. He wouldn't eat all the food. I had to kind of he wouldn't even drink. I had to put like water on a towel and he would lick the towel because he was pretty badly abused and he was thrown in a bunch of foster homes. That's why he's so quiet. He doesn't want to cause any trouble. So it took a while for that. I had to really like over nurture him to bring him out of his shell. So it can happen, right, Apollo? He's like, Dad, leave me alone. Bring a gentle touch. That's what this card is all about. You'd be surprised what can happen when you approach something differently. So if you're used to, if you are either working in a place where people rule with fear, if you're in a relationship where arguing seems to be the key thing, or just generally there's been a lot of friction, you're going to be sort of like the smoothing, polishing cloth. Again, this is the way to use positivity. It's kind, it's gentle, it's direct. It doesn't mean you're a pushover, but that sort of gentle leadership is going to go a long way when it comes to love and relationships in your life. And you could end up kind of like pulling someone out of their shell, especially if it's a child or a pet. But also even if you have to lead someone, if you're a boss and they're used to someone like just constantly telling them that they're nothing, you could just really say, I've seen so much growth. I'd like to see more. What are you interested in? Ask people what they care about. Nobody asks, right? Everybody just talks. Everybody just commands. So be gentle with the approach. Let's look here at relationships. We'll look at it in 3 facets: in love, looking for love, or single and happy. For those of you in love, you've put in a lot of work to get where you're at. The 8 of Cups, 8 of Pentacles and the 9 of Wands is showing me experience and perseverance. We still see a strong friendship here, but the friendship could be lacking a little bit. The time together could be lacking. There could be a lot of focus on money, on power, on work. And so it's really about a coming together. The gentle touch is saying, hey, let's just take a walk. Let's have dinner. Let's grab a coffee. Let's watch something on television. Let's just spend some quality time. It's not always about having sex or making out. This is just the gentle touch. All the stuff leading up to that is more important. And so making some time, some gentle time to just be with your partner and support them is really important. It feels like one or both of you may feel isolated. And it does feel like money, work, finances are taking a toll, and there could be some conversations around that. So get back to what matters: friendship, the hard work, and all of the sort of experiences that you've been through. I see a happy ending here if you want one, because here this shows partnership and just like straight talk. And that's really what King of Swords or Queen of Swords reversed is straight to the point, saying what needs to be said and getting in and out of a conversation without having to sort of linger too long. So anyway, that's what we're seeing with that. Okay. Focusing on some things that could be necessary here. If you're looking at moving on, you're going to be fine. I actually feel like there could be an amicable parting if you want to do that as well. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else. I think that's it. All right. Focusing on those of you that are looking for love right now. Well, first of all, it's closer than you think. The fact that I actually see someone in the periphery here. Friendship seems to want to avail itself to you more or first, and then love may find a way in. So focus on the core friendships, on family, and then I feel like love will kind of find its way in. We are seeing some sort of an unusual connection here. The Hierophant in reverse shows me rebellious energy. Could be an old soul in a young body, or vice versa. Someone that's old but looks young and acts young. So the packaging of your potential partner is not what you think, but there's this really great connection that you have. You're very much focused on growth, success, advancement right now. So how much time do you have to put into this? Be honest with yourself and be honest with your partner about priorities. That's going to be important. Overall, it's pretty good. Again, coming out of your shell is key. So don't be afraid to ask that person out or start the conversation off. You don't have to be as bold as asking them out, but just say, hey, and introduce yourself. My name is, and talk about what's going on. And hey, I want to talk about this or what's going on. So be the one that's ice breaking things, not waiting for someone else to break the ice. All right. If you're single and happy right now, good for you, because most of the energy here is about finishing what you started, maybe advancing in business or in life, focusing on personal development. You could also get a lot done with writing or creating some sort of a project. So by all means, give yourself the time and energy if you want to do that. So that, my friends, is love in a nutshell. Let's go ahead now and look at your final card. And we have the sun here. Lots and lots of correlations between what I'm wearing and what came through today. So if we look at the sun card, that little tiny figure there on the hill, that's you. And sometimes we get sort of feeling this sense of being overwhelmed by what's going on. The sun was in reverse. So this can be a kind of general advice as we're looking at destiny, something that you can shape, something that you can form. To feel like I'm not insignificant. Yes, this world is amazing and it is big, but I'm part of it. I'm part of the movement of this. And I have more power and capability than others give me credit for, and oftentimes than I give myself credit for. That's what you want to think with this card, and really give yourself a chance to step into something new. This is a baby card, actually. Normally, you would see a little child riding a horse in this card. Here we see a little tiny person, which I would imagine is a small child as well. There are a few children in tarot. The other one would be the Six of Cups. You could ostensibly say also like the Empress card would have a child as well, but the sun is the baby. And so there's a big part of you that wants to kind of like step into something new, shed its skin, try something from a different angle, but there's a shyness that's coming through. And there's an encouragement as we look at all of this to imagine what isn't already there. I wrote a book, and to write a book, you have to imagine things that don't exist. They're blank pages. They're planets that don't have people. They're rooms that don't have names or purposes, and you have to sort of like imagine and invent. So for anyone who's ever written a book, good for you. If you've ever been in a place where you have to kind of like imagine something different, just become your inner author, a writer or director, and think, well, what would I like to see here? What am I going to do about that? Today will be the first step. Okay? Let's look at the big idea. The big idea is one overarching card to kind of like pull everything into focus. We're going to get the runner up here. We're going to look at the True Heart Intuitive and see which particular card wants to avail itself to us today. Lo and behold, we got the Six of Cups, the other child card, which I just talked about. I love how there's butterflies that are on top of the ship on this particular deck, which is beautiful. So what we're seeing here is a chance for your dreams to set sail. And as you do that, there's an encouragement and a kind of nod that you might meet love or friends or some sort of an opportunity that you didn't anticipate. So your dream is your magnet. Because what is this is the so what? What is your dream? What is it that you're wanting to create? That's what's going to bring in love and opportunity and fun and this not only like birthing of your idea, but someone else is on that same sort of mental plane as you or same mental state as you. So I think this is exciting for you. The general advice with that is dream big, embrace that dream, let others sort of see what you want to bring into the world as well. All right, so we're ready now to begin the final portion of this reading. There's going to be two parts to it. I'll have a chance to answer your final question that you have for me. So write it down so you don't forget if there's anything that I didn't look at for the week ahead or for this sort of idea of being able to magnetize and bring positivity in. We'll take a look at that. And then we're going to meditate as well to kind of help clear things out. Because we had a lot of issues with like control and everything, I'm going to try to work at liberation so none of that devil type energy comes in. Let me just look one last time at all the cards here and see if there's a closing thought combining this message here that we just saw. A couple of things that I see here to really be able to step into possibilities. Sorry, I just wanted to go to this one. you're going to have to be able to see what isn't there. You're not going to be the only one that sees the potential. The one that sees the potential is the one that truly is there for you. We see a lot of developmental growth happening for you. So focusing on growing your intellect, growing personally, working on strength is going to be important. Love and friendship is all around. And I really feel like the friendship energy avails itself first. Breaking out of your shell, breaking out of what's expected for you is going to be important as well. It's not just about the way it was done. The way you're doing it might be more important. So don't be afraid to think of it or look at it in a different angle or a different perspective. Get that bird's eye view. Be kind as a leader. Give yourself a chance to step into that development. And remember, pacing is so important here. You've got to slow things down. That's really everything in a nutshell. So let's move into your meditation. And I'll give you a chance to vote on what I'm going to play during the meditation. And then one more card at the end. We're going to look at whatever question you have for me might be. Before I do that, while I'm setting up the poll, if you haven't already hit subscribe, please consider doing that. It helps the channel. It costs nothing. It's the same as basically putting a like on a Facebook profile, for instance. Okay, so we have the Crystal Pyramid as one of the things that you can listen to, and the Singing Bowl as the other one. So I'll give you a chance to vote on that. As I said earlier, if you want reminders, you can also follow me on social media. Thank you already to all of you that have given back in super chats and super stickers. Once we get through the meditation, I'll say thanks to all of you. All right, in the meantime, I really like this card. We're going to focus on this beautiful sort of like rising sun, if you will. So imagine yourself out in this open field, and you can see rolling green fields, this one big tree, and the sun rising on the horizon. You can also focus on my shirt if you want to. So as you're kind of imagining yourself out there, brand new day on the sort of rise, you feel this sense of hope and power that you haven't felt previously. If anyone in your life made you feel uncertain, insecure, underprepared, underappreciated, any of those things, in this moment in time, I want you to see your light shining so brightly that person would just be a figment of your imagination, almost as hard to see as that little figure on the hill. So that in this moment, you basically are saying, I claim my divine right to shine. I am ready to receive love and abundance in the highest forms. And I won't fear, most important piece, I will not fear an opportunity when it comes knocking. Unlike that quote, I am ready for those little surprises. There's no surprises, there's only synchronicities. And I am prepared, I am awake, and I am ready to receive the synchronicities and to step through the portal they provide. And as you say, I am ready, which is really kind of ringing in your head like a bell, you start to feel warmth in the heart space, warmth in the belly, and you can see each and every chakra starting to spin and come to light and come to life. Together, the aggregate energy is so bright that it's somewhere between this kind of yellow and almost bright, pure white energy, shining out and reaching as far as the eye can see. This is your soul. This is your soul's light. It's calling in like a magnet things that it's ready for, opportunities that will bring in love and light and success. So imagine that as I play this instrument here, the singing bowl, that you are magnetizing and you're saying, I'm ready. Ready to receive love, abundance, and opportunities in the highest form. Remember to breathe as I play. Remember to see your light reaching out there. And then if you're a little bit more open, if you are able to see things in the meditation, pay attention to what the light rays are showing. What are they revealing? What's coming forth? Relax and breathe, and we'll be back in a moment for the final card. Give yourself a moment now to imagine that you could rise up and look at the world from a different perspective, feeling the sense of creative force, of empowerment, of understanding that there is no such thing as emptiness. There's only opportunity. Seeing yourself as the star that is bringing some sort of a sensibility, some sort of organization to otherwise some of the chaos and disorganization that's been around you. Looking at where it is that you want to land. Where do you see yourself? Imagine now that this beautiful solar energy is finding its way back to the surface. You see your body, your soul, your energy coming together in this final destination of your choice. Gently open your eyes when you're ready and focus on whatever final question you have for me. So we have a general message here about control and being able to sort of take accountability. We have the Chariot card in reverse. So some of you may have asked me a yes-no question. The interesting thing with the yes-no question is you might be going to the wrong person to get something. So if you've been feeling that you're kind of constantly getting no's, or the person hasn't called you back or isn't taking action on it, this isn't the decision maker, or they're not ready to deal with your kind of energy or your opportunity. So either do it yourself or find the person that is the actual decision maker, because the Chariot in reverse tells me they're not the one that's driving. It can also be a general encouragement for you to get into the driver's seat and to really bring things into the right direction, okay? The Chariot, generally speaking, tells me that this is a good time for you to take charge, to make some decisions. And for those of you looking to kind of do something entrepreneurial in nature, like start your own business or even just sort of step into a position where you have more of a voice, this is saying yes on all fronts. The only thing that's a little challenging here is you could be in a situation where people like to cause a challenge for leaders. So your motivational skills, your communication skills are going to be really put to the limit. Because some people around you like to just make it hard on you. So you're going to have to find a way to stand strong and, again, believing in yourself and doing the work to understand that this truly is the right path. That's going to be necessary first. Otherwise, people aren't going to line up and follow your lead. A simple question, would you do it, is enough. If you wouldn't do it, why would you ask others to do it? But overall, the Chariot's a very positive card. It shows control and regaining autonomy and regaining that sense of power. But I guess there was a reason I decided to wear orange and yellow, because it is important to own your power today and the week ahead, and also for this sort of magnetizing energy that we see here. That, my friends, is our weekly collective. I'm going to take a few moments here to say thanks and just to remind you again, it's absolutely free. Please subscribe if you haven't. Follow me on social media for reminders of when I go live. I do impromptus, and sometimes I have to change the time. So on the subscribe option, there's a bell right below the video. And if you click the bell, then you'll get more notifications. You have to opt into all. Thank you to everybody that's given back a little bit today. I'm going to say thanks here as the very next piece here. So first of all, if it's your first time and you just happen to see that I was live today, welcome. I do this every single Sunday. Different topic, different cards, same awesome audience, and same good energy. So I'd love for you to come back anytime you need a reading. Every Sunday, I'm here for you, and this is always available on replay afterwards. So thanks and welcome. If you're one of the longtime viewers that has been with my channel since either 2013 or 2015, depending on which era you joined in, it's good to have you here. I'm glad that you're with me, and it's been an amazing 7 years. Let's go ahead now and say special thanks to anybody that just joined as a member. I have a couple ways that you can give back in a sustaining way. You can join here as a channel member where you get like a green colored name and then little badges after your name and special emojis. You can also help me on Patreon. You get the same voting perks, but you don't get the sort of color differences here, but either one is fine depending on what you like. All right, so here's some new members that joined. Barbara, thank you so much. And is it Zwazwa? I can't say it. I'm going to say Barbara Z. Welcome. Really good to have you here, brand new member. We have Kim Vance, also brand new member. Welcome. Isha Marie, thank you so much for the star membership. There's a few different tiers. I appreciate that you went up a notch. That means a lot. And you're rejoining after 3 months. Betty Davis, welcome. Brand new member. Good to have you here. Mary Spears, after 2 months, is rejoining. Welcome back. Let's see. Swapna, I think it is. Welcome, brand new member. Victoria Gibbons, after 6 months, is rejoining. Welcome back. Melissa Harding, rejoining after 9 months. Good to have you here. Ms. Jocelyn C., welcome back after 4 months. Stacia Purrier, welcome back after 9 months. I think that was everyone because I'm seeing people now from a couple of days ago. Paula Deacon Arc, just in case, also thank you so much. All right, let's go ahead now and say thanks to anybody that was kind enough to give back with a super sticker or super chat. If you happen to be watching it on replay, that thanks option is also available. All right, so for today, let me take a moment here. Scott, thanks for kicking things off this morning. You were the first one, early riser. Muggle 1983, thank you. Carl Heinrich, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Ralu 15, much appreciation. We have Nicole Marie Barrett, thank you. Thanks for the 50, I appreciate that. Charlene, thank you very much for the 100 as well. Lucy Rodriguez, Under the Sword, Misha Crane, thank you all so much. Dark Star Alchemy, thank you very much. Annie Mule, Nick 5884, let's see, Diane, Carla Owen, Kak Lee, Lynn M. Sevigny, I think it is, Gina Gonzalez, Mauricia, I'm just going to say it there, thank you so much. Taz Halloween, Darkstar Alchemy again, thank you. Marissa, Jeannie Davis, Kathy Ahern, Ms. Optimistic, Annie Holm, Esther H., Isha Marie again, thanks so much. Maria Fazari, Jules in July, Sparkle and Glow, Robert Miyoki, good to see you, Robert. Thank you very much. Thanks for the 50. Crystal McKnight, AB, and Wendy Wright. Thanks so much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today. Ruby Red, I see you joined a little bit late there with that, and I think I got everybody. So today's reading was especially enjoyable for me. I like all of them, but focusing on the energy of positivity, that's it's so important. That's something that I constantly try to do each and every day. There's always something in our life that can take us off of our sort of place of power or our sweet spot. And all that we have to do is kind of change perspective, shift our gaze from here to here and see it from a different angle. And a reminder, of course, that sometimes it's not all going to be spelled out for you. Sometimes it is this empty room, but the sky's the limit. So don't limit yourself by what is seen, by what others see. Continue to be positive, continue to do the work, and keep me posted as you kind of travel through all the opportunities in front of you. I'll be back this week to read for 3 signs, as always. I'll be doing Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio. Virgo is at a later time than usual. Everything else, the rest of this month, is at a normal time. Virgo's at 5 p.m. Pacific. On Thursday and Friday, I'll be back at 9 a.m. Pacific to, again, look at Libra and Scorpio. The whole schedule is on my website, so when in doubt, take a look there. And thank you so much to both Dakota and Maria for showing up and helping today. Thanks for all of you for being present, and I'll see all of you very soon, maybe tomorrow if you feel like joining me. All right, until then, take care of yourself. I'm going to go take this lovely Sleeping Beauty for a walk here. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys.